guys, so it's a really hot one out today, which means I'm pretty much quarantined inside, so I thought I'd do a little formulation, bring you along with me and, have a little fun since we're gonna spend the day inside anyway. Yeah, so I got some oil extracts here that have been sitting for, honestly, like a really long time, and I think they're about as infused as they're gonna get, so I thought I'd give them a strain today and see what we can make. Yeah, I was thinking about playing with balms and salves because they're pretty much like pretty similar recipes, but the main difference between them is for like salves, you typically would just have like an oil base with some wax to thicken it, while balms usually incorporate like a butter. So the salve today, I want to use some coconut oil. Just it kind of thickens it a little bit. I am going to keep it like strictly oil based, I do want a little bit of like, I don't know, like a creamy texture to it. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to the salve. And then I think I'm going to make an infused butter for the balm. So I'm thinking something that's good for sensitive skin. So I've got some mango butter here, which I don't know if you've ever played with, but it's like a very hard butter. So I'm gonna mix it in with some shea butter because I like the consistency of shea butter. It's a bit creamier, but this one really like sinks in quickly. That's why I like mango butter a lot. So I'm gonna mix those two and I'm gonna infuse it with this lavender that my mom grew, and like I cannot explain to you how divine that smells, and I'm so excited to infuse that. So I think I'm gonna get that started real quick, and then I'm gonna strain these oils and meet you back here and we'll get on with our formulations. I'm really excited. So the difference between salves and balms is honestly very nuanced, and most people would even say that there isn't really a difference. And that is because they do contain pretty much the same ingredients. And the consistency too is where the differences are most notable, I'd say, because balms are meant to not absorb as quickly, while salves are meant to absorb faster, so balms typically have a higher wax content. Now with that being said, the balm I'm making today is actually a pretty lightweight balm because it is meant for sensitive areas where you don't necessarily want a very waxy balm. Okay, so I got my butter started and I'm gonna go ahead and strain these. I've got a comfrey one that's really old and I've been dipping out of this one honestly without straining it, so it's pretty concentrated. And then I've got some CBG flour that my mom also grew that I was gonna go ahead and strain, and I think these are the ones that I want to use for the salve. And then for the balm, because I want to make it for like sensitive skin or like sensitive areas, like something you could use on like a baby or even like your vagina or like your like dick and balls, honestly. But yeah, so I wanted to choose an herb that's like very, very gentle, and so I'm using thyme aloe, and this is in olive oil, so it's like a very gentle extraction. This one's also been going on for a while, so that's all the thyme aloe I got, which is honestly I think just enough for my recipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use all of it for that, which is perfect. So let's set that aside. Let's get these bad boys strained. And I'm gonna mix these because I plan on mixing them in my balm, so I'm just gonna mix them in as I strain them. Do you see the two densities of the different oils? That's super cool. that smells really good. And you could see that the apricot kernel oil was more dense and actually sunk to the bottom while the olive oil was floating on top. But I thought that was really cool. You can see the two different densities of oil. And I actually just talked about this in one of my posts. It was determining herbal concentrations. I talked a little bit about density in that one. So if you're interested in that and you wanted to learn a little bit more about it, go check out that post. I'll link it below in the description for sure, but super fun. Alright guys, I think this is almost done. Just waiting for these last couple chunks to melt, and then I'm going to pull it off the heat. And I think I'm going to add some essential oil to this. I think I'm going to add some cedarwood because this is already supposed to be kind of like a pain management balm, and cedar would be a lovely addition to that because it's cooling and like, I don't know, yeah, it's cooling properties. So I'm going to grab my thermometer real quick and take a temp because I don't like to add essential oils when my salve is really hot because I feel like they just immediately dissipate. So I'm going to check the temp on this bad boy. I like to keep it under 70 degrees Celsius when you're adding essential oils. So as long as it's under that. Yeah, and for anyone who is more familiar with Fahrenheit, that would be about, I keep it like maybe like under 150 Fahrenheit. This is a pretty good temperature, so I'll be able to add the essential oil as soon as I pull it off the heat, which is nice. It's at 63 Celsius, which is perfect. And this is hot, guys, so definitely don't grab it with your hands. If you're using a pot, that's great. Like a double boiler works great. I don't really have a double boiler, so I just use this water bath method, and I find that it works well. It is kind of cumbersome, but just making sure that there's absolutely no beeswax in there, and I think we are good to go. Okay, give it one last stir, and I'm gonna add a little bit of essential oil. Alright, I'm just gonna add probably like 20 drops. I want this to be pretty intense. So yeah, okay. You want to stir this really well. Ooh, it smells really nice. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more, just a couple more drops because I want it to be really like kind of like cooling, warming, so I think that was it. Yeah, it smells great. Okay, we'll pour this into containers. You can already see it starting to solidify in that jar because the jar is cold. And this is like a nice hot salve going into it. Ooh, yeah, and I'm gonna have enough for probably maybe another jar, so I'm gonna go grab one. Found a little tin. just perfect. Hey guys, the oil just finished, or sorry, the butter just finished. Finished extracting, and so I'm gonna go ahead and strain it into this little rubbery thing so that I can let it harden, and then once it's hardened we can make the balm. I'm really excited. It smells really good. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go grab some cheesecloth so we can strain this and get it into here. And it's important to strain this while your butter is still a liquid. Like, if it hardens with the herbs still in it, you'll have a really hard time getting that herb out unless you melt it back down again. So just go ahead and strain it as soon as your extraction is complete and not have any of that headache. So let's go ahead and get it. Oh, it smells really good. Oops, I got a little. And it's hot, so be careful. It's a little squeeze. Oh, that looks so good. And it smells amazing. Alright, I'm gonna go put this in the freezer just so it sets up real quick, and I'm not sure how long that'll take. It's a decent amount of butter here, and I want it to fully freeze because I did put some shea butter in here. And one neat thing about shea butter, I don't know if it's neat, it's kind of annoying to be honest, but it'll crystallize in your final product. So if you've ever made a salve with shea butter and you've had like little granulars appear over time, that's actually the shea butter crystallizing. So one thing that you can do to prevent that from happening is to freeze your butter while it's a liquid. So it has to be pretty warm and a liquid, and you need to freeze it like pretty quickly, and that'll actually prevent it when you melt it back down again. If you melt it at like a low temperature, it'll prevent it from crystallizing as fast. So I'm gonna do that with this just to preserve my salve a little bit, or my balm a little bit. So it's actually the next day, and I just pulled my lavender butter out the freezer, so I'm gonna make that balm now. Yeah, it smells so good. It turned out really well. I'm like really proud of it. It smells really good. And then this beeswax also. It's such good quality. It smells just like honey, so I'm so excited to use that as well. And yeah, the last thing I wanted to add was that oil we filtered yesterday, and it's just a high mallow oil, and I really think the high mallow mixed with the lavender is going to be so very like gentle and soothing. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of tea tree in there too to make it a bit of antifungal, because I want this to be like for sensitive skin, but also like something you could put on maybe like your armpits or maybe like your bikini area. And so all of those ingredients are actually completely safe for those areas, especially the tea tree because it is antifungal, so especially under the armpits. Yeah, it'll just like help with like smell and stuff, so that's cool. So, and lavender and tea tree is a really nice blend. I don't know if anyone's ever tried that, but it's really, really nice, so I recommend. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. so the balm just got done. I just pulled it off the heat just now, and just like last time, I'm going to add some essential oils, but I want to check the temperature and make sure that it's under about 65 to 70 Celsius, and that's about 150 Fahrenheit. It looks like we're good. It's about 62 to, yeah, about 61 to 62 degrees Celsius right now, so that is a perfect time to add the essential oils. And today I'm going to use, I think, a little bit of lavender, just to kind of like supplement the lavender vibe that we already have going on here. And then I am going to add some tea tree to it, like I said earlier, so I'm going to add that real quick. Yeah, that's like the perfect level of essential oil in there. Yeah, this looks like it's good to go into its container now. So I'm just gonna pour that up and it'll be done. It for those recipes. It's pretty easy, as you saw, to make salves and balms, and as you can see, they're pretty similar, honestly. The major difference is just honestly the texture at the end and the butter. So I've got both right here, and I'm pretty stoked with the results. This one with the cedarwood is really nice, and the beeswax still comes through in the end, which I really like, and the coconut oil does still keep it creamy without having to add that balm or that butter, which is really nice. And yeah, oh, it's so nice. Gosh, my arms are like so hydrated after this because I just keep rubbing like all the excess into my arms. It's funny. Yeah, and it smells so good, and the cedarwood like definitely gives it like a bit of a cooling effect, and the comfrey, which is really good for the pain management, and that's why I made this balm. It's pretty much for pain management because I don't know, as the weather changes, my partner's got a rod in his leg and it always bothers him, and so I like to make this with comfrey and cedarwood just to help him out a little bit when the weather changes. So that's why we're here. And the balm really turned out really nice. This one is a lot softer than I was expecting it, but I really like that. I don't know if you can tell, but it's like really creamy. It's like a little bit less waxy and a little bit more of like a nice butter, but it melts really easily, and it's just so gentle. Like, this recipe is super gentle. This one definitely absorbs quicker than the salve, and it's because I did use less beeswax in this one. And so it's got a really mild scent, but it's still like super herbal looking, which I love. And it smells good, feels good, so I say that's a success. And if you want to check out the links in the description, I do have recipes for both of these on my website. I really enjoyed doing this formulation, so I do want to do a lot more like this, a lot more recipes. So if you have any suggestions, definitely send them my way and I'll incorporate them into a recipe and release a video for you guys, because this is super enjoyable. So that's it for today, pretty much. So I hope you guys try this out at home, and have a great day. Thanks for joining, guys.